Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on UppTalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say UppTalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you are new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
Welcome to my lecture. Over. Here we have the progress bar. Here's like the my information. It's like the intro page. We have this question. How did you hear about this? Can you recall where we saw this option? They were on the home and the career side. There was an option to where we can populate the where, which side, or option to select when he signed which side they selected. These were the job details which were added, then the social profiles, then the intro. Here, how did you hear about this? This is mapped to this particular question. And let's suppose we have another field, recruiting sources for auto tracking. Let's suppose if a person comes on the external career sites and apply, and if we mentioned over here any source that would be the by default source for that person, then this particular question will not pop up. That source would be auto. We most probably put corporate website or something like this, and then this question will not come. This is another feature. Then this again coming somewhere from Workday code which developers have enabled. That's where it is coming. Then again the legal person name, address, phone number. All these things are there. I think we can make it mandatory or not mandatory. We'll see that. You have included apply intro. Then background check. Like if a person wants to give us LinkedIn ID, Facebook ID, anything that could be done, then personal information could be asked for US people. And it majorly includes a field called veteran status, which is only available for US. Rest for non US, we have a lot of other fields. Then previous worker validation, like if we want to enable this feature, then Workday provides us the option. And it allows candidate to get the previous organization's employee, ID his previous organization employee, ID his previous email, his manager's number, and one more thing. We can enable that verification. Then we have terms and agreement. Terms and agreement come somewhere here. Voluntary disclosure. Then voluntary self-identity disability. Again, it comes somewhere over here. This is Huron's one. Maybe they have implemented it differently. That's why you're not able to see a lot of other things. Inline assessment generally requires integration. Let's skip that. Then candidate home. Candidate home also have a sidebar. For example, if I go to candidate home, they have their own sidebar and they have a template. The sidebar which we have seen above and the sidebar over here. Both of them are coming over here. And we can even use the same sidebar technique. It doesn't matter, or we can use a different one. This is what it is. Then we have the My Task section for the candidate home account, then My Applications. Till now, I have done these two, and both of them are not submitted. And one is inactive because I have withdrawn it. That's the reason. Then similar jobs. There are no current jobs, but this feature includes machine learning and Workday fetches. The suitable jobs, according to what you have applied in past, that is done by Workday at backend. Then My Account. You can update your contact information like email and phone number. I think, and you can also edit account settings. Like email, and if I go back, then update contact information. There's different button. These are the contact information which you can update, which you have given in your job. Not job application, I think, but I think it will get reflected in your job application. This is something which is coming from your. It is coming from the job application which I have submitted. That is how Workday fetches that data, and you can create your job alerts on external career site. We'll see how on internal career site we can create job alerts as well. On clicking this button, this is how the task looks like. You have to name your job alert and how many times you want to get it. Then are there any filters like what is your country? With job category, you're looking for hierarchy, job type, full-time and company. Course. The company over here they're talking about is like the companies which are maintained in the system. It's not the supervisor organization. It's the all-time. This is how candidate home account looks. Shilpa question. This candidate home account. Most of the time we get a ticket that candidate is not receiving an email or the email address has been changed. The candidates are not able to edit the information. Does recruiter also have access to this candidate home? How? No, he doesn't have access to candidate home account, but he can see the job application data for the candidate. There's a domain for that. Candidate data job application. This domain provides access to view candidate job application. And if you want to see personal data of the candidate, that is, I think, also possible. This candidate job application provides information for any application, job application he has applied to. We have these domains and they will have a parent domain, I feel, which will include the person data, personal information. This domain tracks the personal information that candidate can submit either with the application or during job application. Information is often highly Only user with security access to this will say they have this subdomain. Like if person has this domain access now, he will be also getting the access for these subdomains. Like he will be able to see birthplace, citizenship, medical status, all these things. And the allowed security groups are only the unconstrained ones and segment job application type. We'll look into what is segment based security groups later on. But unconstrained is like who have tenant wide access. Admin is unconstrained. Role based are generally constrained ones. Can you show me, like, if you want to search something, candidate data, like being a recruiter, if you log in? How can we go to this domain, candidate job application? Oh, is this your? You have. It doesn't work. There's another way to see who all are assigned to a security group. Let me see the code on. Like the user down candidate portal. I'm not aware of the terms like how would it. Let's see. They have VPN and domain policies to assignable role because over there we do the assignments. All these people are the recruit. Let me log in as common quoters. If we can assign this role to stay more than maybe. No, I need to check if this person has the work account. I cannot see this person. Nobody's file. Check for somebody else. I'm not able to proxy. Let me proxy as well, but I think she will be the group for somebody. Let's see. He will have his profile also the candidate. You know the prospect or the candidate. Both of them will have a scene and the ID attached to it. There's no separate prospect related ID. Both of them will get candid. But yes, over here you will get a bracket saying that it's a prospect. But currently this person is a candidate. And you can see the location jobs applied to. You have to make sure that the domain access is given to your recruiters properly. Only then you'll be able to see all these details. Then overview like effect icon personal information. Currently could see only date of birth and age. And additional data is this. Then duplicates as this. What kind of personal data you want to look? Like email. If recruiter has to update the email. Like they sent an offer letter and he is not receiving offer and they request to change the email. Is there any way recruiter can enter there? This is candidate portal. This is called personal data. Edit contact information. If I click here. I could change these details about the person. Phone number, address. Maybe he has not given. Email is altered. You can change it. But just look out for the domain : candidate postal information. These domains should be enabled for the recruiter. This is candidate portal. That's what they call. This is the candidate profile. We have worker profile also now. If I click on login. I know what is the portal mean. What is this term used for? I think it's a mode of legacy system, related term in Workday. We just have Workday profile and Workday pages and windows and dashboards. I don't think that there's any portal. Portals are a system who have like a lot of softwares attached to them. That's why they use that term. You only have dashboards mainly. Dashboards. You can have the tasks, but Workday is a single platform. We can call Workday portal. That's it. But internally, we don't have any particular portal in it. And if you use the view candidate, we can click on that and then we can find any. If you don't know the name of the new candidate, we can use this. Just type in candidate and the name of the candidate. We also have candidate related reports, which you get, or you can just type in Workday standard reports. These are Workday related work reports, and just type in candidate and see if something has come. Let's see what comes. Related to candidate, we can see this only. This was only. But we have candidate pools, and we can also open that job requisition and over there look out for the candidates. They are also grouped over there. Now we do job rec task, mostly we use. New job rec, I think. If I see here, recruitment was the dashboard. Maintain my consultants again. my candidate. We consultants maintain this dashboard and give it to the client. We can see over here collection of worklets, task reports. It's a one-stop. It's a one page for recruiters to see all the tasks majorly. See all these other candidates. Now we have one very important report, and it's also the internal career site of a company. And that is Find Job. This is standard report. All the job openings internally are posted over here. We cannot create any extra, any customized internal portal. This is the one page where all the openings come. This is standard report. We can copy it, create our own custom Find Job report, and attach it on our external career site. If you remember, we have an optional adding custom Find Job report in the job details section. But internally, this is what it is. They are toy right now. I'll go to Job Hubs. Also, I can see Recruiting Hub. Let's first look about Job Hubs. Let's consider. We can define the announcements which will come on the Job Hub navigation item, overrides. For example, we want to search for jobs or my application or job alerts, reference or overview. These are the possible items we can search on Job Hubs. We can select any one of it and we can put another label. Currently there are no label, but we can have our own customized label like Browse Job will not appear. Maybe we want something else, like Search for my best job, something like this. That will appear here. And I'll search for my applications. This is a person's best pick right for employees. Persons will be able to see all of their applications. Like maybe they have created application for somebody else, or maybe they have put in reference. All that data will be visible at one particular page. Then my job alerts. Then suggested links. Based on security group or condition rule, we can have these kinds of information with any external link, any task for reports, or any dashboard related information. We have a lot of dashboards in the system, standard and custom. Let's see. Recruiting talent search. Dashboards over here are like, firstly, to maintain them in the system. And I could see that these are custom ones. An external link would be any link of maybe over here, I could see this additional name. Like for change or for community, we can have a link. If I select community, what it will do, it will include a link. If I click on this community node, it will redirect me to the community page. If I select change job or add additional job, it will take me to a link and they will allow me to add additional jobs. These things could be done. Then content. This is the default section cards. Recently added job tasks, empty job posting, my job application, empty job application state. We can customize it also. And I think we have worked it in the work section. Let me see if I need to create out. We have worked it delivered once. And these are the cards. Also, like how the information would be displayed in a summarized format. Let me now see existing job forms. One more important thing we can include here in tasks and reports is the Find Job Custom report. We could include here the Find Job. We could see the custom one also. We could see the work they delivered once. We can include, it's like another way of creating a dashboard. I would say, but over here we can add security group condition rules. Or we can rename these items to override. Whereas in dashboard, we can simply add tasks to the codes for security groups, along with work lists. And those particular dashboards are like visible on menu section over here. Whereas job hubs, we just need to click here and search for it. It's a report. Recent applications. Then browse job. We have seen right. We can add browse job section label override. They have also included the custom job find job report here. Let me see if I can add job hub over here. I could add it over here. I'll go to that. That will also take me to the same page form. We have recently added jobs. This goes on to another section with our 10 recent applications. Then browse job. Job alerts my applications. This looks like an internal career site, or we can also add external career site because it allows us option to add the application as well. Here, it would be accessible by the current employee. Definitely, it's internal. And my application would be for that particular employee who has clicked on this particular job. Whatever application maybe are on him, like he's moving to some other department. He has created his own application, or he has created application for some of the external candidate, or he has put in some reference to all those applications. This is for all the employee. This could be, I think it's person specific. I think it's personalized for. Here I could see the recent applications. If I click on View All Applications, these are the ones, and these are the hiring manager. These are the recruiters, and these are the tasks. I can withdraw the application. I can view the application. I think just like an internal career site for the active employee, and then they can personalize, they can save their application. They were also able to look at other applications existing in that hub. It's like an internal existing employees candidate who's similar to that. And the requirement I was telling you, they were saying that employee has to go to Job Hub and look for the position over there. How about they to create an email notification on the just a notification in the Workday inbox? They can automatically get this alert. I think it's if we have to configure it in the when you go to maintain hub. There was two option view and configure. I think that we can configure how to automatically get the notification for new jobs. For that we have to come here. We can see the job alert. These are the job alerts right now. And we could have the frequency. This is how we are going to come here. And whatever is the job alert template move. We have I could see the job in it. I'll create this email template and name it. I could define the static diamond on content. Everything will begin. Then we have create message template. Here also we can define the notification type as job alerts. Job alerts for internal candidates can have. And we can have this, of course. Oh, configure template and create message is a similar thing or a little different. Configure. There was no task when I typed in configure. It was create only. Some things like nothing was coming from content. We cannot maintain like multiple job hubs. There's only one. And you can define the nonsense navigation item. Navigation item will be these. What can we come to? Maybe Looping doesn't have the access properly to see all the job alerts related to nodes, like which will gather all job openings and provide a similar kind of job. Maybe that's the reason. But you can look into your tenant and see how this configured for you. The email template you just created, how it will populate on our hub. It's not coming right there. As I said, we have to select here the job alerts. And then it would be used as a job alert email. And the message template. We were also able to see job alerts for internal canopies, but here it is only giving us job alerts. But I think it would be another way of attaching. I think because we can have multiple email templates in the tenant right. That's what I was asking. How, and this email is for all the employee because it looks like it's a person specific, any employee, how all the employee will get email notification or the message notification. Generally the admins or the implementers. They configure the job hubs. Then they finalize the definition or links or everything. And it would be then applicable to all the employees when they log in into their job hubs. But the data will differ as per the job alerts they have created or based on the security book they are part of. Accordingly, the tasks that have notes, external links, everything will pop up, but we do only can invite this configuration at once. But I need to check that how we are attaching the email templates because we could have multiple email templates. Because if we configure something and us log in as a login, then we can check did we receive any email or notification. Generally in client stand, we don't give all employees security group access to the domains for creating the or maintaining the job. It is only given to admin. That's why the employees won't be able to see this task, configure hub by admin. They will only be able to view it. I think they should be somewhere over here. The option when I'm selecting the it should come somewhere where we can attach just a second. Let me search. I need to search on it a little bit more, but some way over here I feel that it should be added. This another template which I would like to discuss. There are certain items over here. We have certain Workday default sections, and we saw on our career site from here on when we were opening our job application that we saw these details being asked. Certifications, education, languages, resume passing skills, website, and work experience. All those data we were able to gather through this particular job application network. We don't attach the job application template anywhere on our external career site, but Workday it fetches the data from this template as well. This is how they have done the code that will be mapped to this job application template. Here we can have the fields. Here we can have the fields and we can make it hidden, require for all or for selected security works. Like for some we can make it asterisk, for some we can hide it. That is how this could be done. This is the default job application template. If I go back, we can also have, based on condition rules, a customized job application template. For example, if you're doing hiring for management level 1 or 2, we might need some other type of template. And if we are hiring for particular location, maybe we want a different template. If I click on any one of it again, it will have the same view. And if I click on it, then I could see these default sections, which I cannot edit. I can just override it with the label, and they are the same ones. Only thing they have put certain criteria of how it would be visible. If I go here they're talking about the section, then in that section they will have to ask all these things. Like if a person selects certification details, then he has to give all these field details. Then we can make it hidden for all or required for all, like this. And the task to create is a create job application template. No, it is like maintain job application. Yes, after that, create job application template. But you can get it from here also. Then we create it and then we have added here. When we post an external and our website, the Workday map it from here. We're attached to the website from this particular task. After creating, we have to put it here. Add it here. We have to maintain here the template as well. You can move down like we saw sidebar templates. For group page and for candidate overcome. Then we saw job posting template. Then there was find job custom report added. Then there was a message and email template added. And now this job application template. You can just note it down all these that you don't get confused. Only this is not added on external careers and rest of all of them were added. I don't understand that. We have to add the job W and external career side right now. I'm saying that this particular job application template, we have not included this template anywhere on our external career side, but the rest of what I mentioned, all of them were added in the external career side. Those were the sidebar templates, job posting templates, then message email templates, and the find job custom report. All those were added for it. Now coming to the BP part. The first important BP is the job requisition BP, and it gets triggered when we click from the submit task of create job requisition. Or just open any random job rep BP and let's see which all steps are there. In job rig BP, we can have all these possible steps. We can assign rows for the job rig. Then we can check the budget. Then any questionnaires for job rig. We were also able to add questionnaires. Primary, it's again in the job rig task. Otherwise, we can also have this particular step. And also, I think we have one step type called configure. Question 1, I'll see that later. Then we can create positions. Then we can post your, then we can put this position is very important to include. If we have a position management supervisor attached to our job rep, and if we have selected the option of create position, if you remember on the task, then it is very important. Then post job. Post job is like very important and it should be majorly as the last step. This always included in the job and we can request requisition compensation. Like if you want to look at again, either the manager would see the recruiter. We can do that. Then we can review the job rate which we have created. We can also review the job application template. We can review this job application template, which we just saw, before posting our job on the external barrier side. These are the possible steps. No need of remembering anything. But these are the possible ones. Just remember, post job is very important. But if you're not going for any interview, if you would have gone, then you should remember 3 steps for sure. Then we have this complete questionnaire step. What it does it like triggers a questionnaire step. Like we definitely have to attach a questionnaire over here and it will go to somebody like either it will go to manager or it goes to find it as self. You could see a task that he has to fill in a questionnaire. This is also a very important type in the group. If I remove it, click on. Now we can see this button configure questionnaire. It means that we have included this template. We have not attached any questionnaire. We need to click on this. We need to attach the questionnaire. The task for creating questionnaire is very simple. Question is simply collection of questions. I could create new or edit existing one. I could maintain questions if I click on this one. I would like to introduce a very important field here. Whenever we are creating questionnaires, we should decide over here to which all business processes in the recruitment process. But anyway, in the system, these questionnaires would be valid for. Like if we are selecting here background check. It means this questionnaire would only be included as a step in the background check business process. It won't be visible any questionnaire related step in interview, screen, or assessment. This is what it means that if you want to restrict the questionnaire to a particular business process, we have to do this. And if I don't select anything over here, then it is not allowed on any BP. We have to make it like specifically over here for which all BPs it would be used. It's not mandatory, but still we have to select a stage where we introduce the questionnaire right. Let's check if I've not included anything here, will it populate in the step or not? Wait, let me maintain question 1 too. I could either create a questionnaire, create questions, if I click here, but this is how it looks like. I could have question name, question body, and what is that type of this. These are work to deliver types. If I select a choice and I also need to get the possible answers, and then I also can define this course for that. And we can add question that's also like that's basically for associating one business object to another. Maybe this question that could be used in some reporting field, something like this. If I click here, this question would be used in bold also. We have questionnaires over there. It could be attached. Then for new hire purpose, it could be like used, it could be associated. I would say these are the possible questions available in the system. Then I could preview questionnaire and export. Now let me see if I could do. I think I need to open this again. I cannot see my test. We can question it still because I have not allowed it for this particular beep. I have to make sure that I'm allowing it even though it's not as soon. Definitely. It's like a bug and would be looking into this. It's a very important configuration from interview point of view, of course, and they could ask you otherwise from implementation point of view, also very important. These are the important job requisition steps. Post job should be there. Now, post job is a sub process. You know what? Business process configuration report. The business process option, which tell you which sub process is allowed. You know about it, right? Before configuring any BP, we should look into it. It will tell us like if the particular action step is a sub process or not, and then we have to maintain that also. We should do one. This questionnaire step is included in BP job rec, and then it would, whenever we post any job rec, it will automatically populate in our job replication business process. No, it will not trigger in the job application process. I just wanted to show you this is a type of step. It does not like it should always be there in the job. It is majorly included in the job application stages processes. But the job rep has nothing to do with job application. The main purpose of job rep is to post the job, make it visible somewhere or internally, like looking to the compensation or the job application template. Like before posting it, like we would want to see the details which we are going to ask, like the things which we saw on our job application template, if you remember. We are talking about template. We're not talking about the job application business process. That is different. We'll see that. It's the biggest one for recruitment. That is the big one. It has a lot of substages of background check, assessment, review. For post job, we majorly include only one step of reviewing the post job, and it is done by manager only. And we don't have a security group called hiring manager. The manager over here, like he is by default called the hiring manager also. We can create a role-based security issue, but generally hiring managers like the normal manager. Now let's look into the job application weekly. I have two questions. Yes, definitely. Let's discuss something else in the meanwhile. I would also like to show you one more thing. You know about Drive, right? Drive and Workday. Yes, I never use it, but I see it in my main page. Over here also, we have one section of templates. We don't have anything, but let's see what we can create. Not work, not this one. Not the folder. Over here, we should also see an option to create notification templates. In notification templates, we can add images as well. It's more user friendly. Let me check. Apparently, these are the security groups allowed. And this is the major domain for that. US. Apparently, no security group has the answers. That's why we are not able to see. Otherwise, we could have simply got plus sign over here to create template. Some application and actions may not be available. It's clearly written here as well. It is taking me to community. I don't know the weather, but we could. Simply, you can look into your parent or if there's anything else. I'm trying to see how the UI will look like. It's a good feature to know about for from recruitment perspective. If you don't have security, then we can click on now, go to the domain, and then add a security group there. We have added two. That was the biggest one where we need to add, but maybe some. There's some training constraint also. That's why we are getting this message also here. Otherwise, we could have just got a plus sign here and it would have navigated us to the create notification. And then we create a tab of notification here. Most of the time, I get the tickets, which really I don't have too much actual experience of working. They ask me to access to a report like run a report. I usually go in the report and share an authorized user and the username in there. But sometimes it's still complained that they are still not accessing the report. And manager told me to run the report. I don't understand what's the report. What I understand is a standard one or custom. A custom report, custom record. If it's not accessible, then you need to check the data source of the business object where if he's part of. Let me just talk about my local job. This happened for me during my learning module also. If I've shared it with the employee still, they were not able to see. Then I got to know that the business object or the data source, they don't have the required access to include those security things. This is the data source. If I click here, these are the security groups who have the access to this. Only people who are part of the security group would be able to see the boards who have data source. This, and definitely they should be included as the authorized user. And these are the possible data sources filters they have access to. We have to look into this as well. If I click on data source filters doesn't have security groups as such, but they are part of a data source, and those data source should have the security. You need to check the security groups over here. And run the report is mean same thing like adding as a user. No. Running is like. The user asked me to run the report for her. I don't understand. Custom report and run it. That's it. I mean how to run it for the user. Like he wanted me to run it for her. I can proxy as a user. Sandbox. I cannot proxy in the production. How to run a report for somebody else in production. In production, I think we have batches where the reports get from, and for batches I think security team is responsible, but not at runtime. Like those feature will be reflected in production. Could you tell me which specific report he's talking about? It was a custom report. My colleague created it and she went on leave and she was not in office. She said that somebody need access. Go get them access. I went to the report. I went to the share. I asked at the author's username the person for that report related to. Can you tell me it was about the gender? It was about the disability and veteran status of the employee. Somebody was looking at HR was looking for the employee. They have to do a custom report for that. She created the custom report and asked me to give the user access. I had the user access, but then she said she cannot access or run the report for her. I was able to run a sandbox. I don't know. Run the report and they want to see it in the production only, or do you want to provide them with the Excel of that output of the report? No, they said run the report. Excel is easy. I know I can click on the workbook or Excel access and then email it to them. But sometimes they want to go in the report and they have to apply the filter to narrow down the data by location or even if you're running it. Still, if they don't have the access, they won't be able to see the run format. And if they have the access, they can run it on their own. Definitely check the data source and the business object on which the report was created. Business object. We have to have a script for business object as well, like data source. I know. When we are creating a report, we first have to enter the business object. If we enter the business object and if we start creating, then we cannot edit the business object. We can then only edit the data source. You need to look into the data source mainly because you cannot edit the business object. And if you're not able to see, of course, that security group in the data source, just check in that business object also. And if over there also it's not present, then you have to tell them that your security group was not present in the business object. You will not be able to access it. The business object also have a security group. I never look into that. This is the primary business also for the business object. These are the full names, description related business object categories. Then these are the related business object. Like using this main primary business object, we can use these fields also. These are the business objects. These are the data sources which could be added. And these are the reports, standard reports, and the customer group where all this business object has been added. Let me just see where I could file the security. Let me think while you're feeling. In the fields also, I couldn't see it for business object, but I remember we could see security groups over here as well. But for the fields also, I remember that we could have the indexing information. Authorized user default area. I won't be able to edit it, for sure. Report field new security groups. Correctly, this field is visible to all the users. That is fine. But talking about this, I thought business object also have it. I need to check it, but for fields we could see, for data sources we could see. Just check over there. The data sources and which all fields are also included on your record. But since you cannot access the report itself, I think you need to check the data source first because fields are like a person is not able to see a particular column in the report. That is due to the field restriction, but you need to check the data source. Thank you. And these business objects know. We have implementation suites. Over there, we have worked with defined packages where we have these business objects and to whom it is visible. For implementers, it is like almost all the business objects are visible, but I'll check like where I could see the security for business option. Thank you. What is the next one? Next is intersection security group. I haven't created one. Some recruiter, these are global companies. They want to give access to recruiter to specific region and hide the region from them. They want me to create an intersection security group where they include primary recruiter as our include in the security and then have our exclusion criteria to exclude certain groups. I was just a little confused about those. I think create security group, then you will see it. This one, yes. The other one is very easy role based. I can easily create, but this one is a little complicated. What's the difference between aggregation and intersection security group? Not sure, but intersecting is they have one. Certain things are similar and where they intersect and certain things are different in both group. We can exclude some and include some. Let's suppose if I'm including manager here and I'm including recruiters here. What it means, like which all security groups are. You can see the users at the end would be intersected. It would be. It will include all the managers, all the users who are managers, but it will exclude all the users in the manager security group who are also the recruiter. It's like manager, the biggest one. And in that some of them are recruiters also for some supervisor. They will remove those particular subset of recruiters and they will include all the managers. Anybody who want to like on the right side. Exclusion constraint context. We have like which security groups to include. We want to include the primary recruiter here. If you're not selecting any security group to exclude, we can also like exclude certain positions in the organization. We can define the positions here. And whether it applies to current org or applies to current org and subordinate or none of the above. From where these organizations are getting into picture. It is for each specific organization, Workday's job. Like for example, we have the topmost one. The topmost one will have all the managers, but we would want to exclude certain positions and also would be holding those positions. Those people will also be excluded from giving the access or from being part of this intersection security group. We can also include organization like this. Supervisor organization should be excluded. We could see over here all of these organizations as well. This is not a rest. All of them are organization. If I add an exclusion criteria, then I cannot add the security group to exclude on the left side. If you try to put something in the exclude group on the other side, the second one I have is I will go to the manager and it will exclude all the managers who are like the manager of these organizations. This is how it is going to fit. And now what you're saying, if you select somebody next to him criteria and then you go to the other side where the intersection criteria, the opposite side of you. Here, if I want to add something here like security group to exclude, if I add something, I will not be able to add anything here. If you pick something in and they're saying not both. This is over here over service the manager. All those users will be included, but except the manager of this organization. What is the purpose of this? This is also intersection, means like you have to include some in your text. Some testing criteria. That's the criteria that we have to include a subset of the whole group. Like that we have to exclude a set of the whole group. And for the aggregation we can aggregate, we can combine two security groups. Aggregate would be like it would be. Let me see this. Security groups to include. I think we can include multiple ones over here. We can aggregate multiple to all the users who are managers or recruiters would be part of this aggregation. Also what they provide just to exclude as well. Also, but only one we can exclude. But in including we can have multiple options. Whereas in intersection, we could have only one for each of these fields. That's even better. This is even better than that. We were discussing, I think, about the job rates only till now. And we have to start with the job application BP. Let's go to that. This is my support. In order to create the BPs, you know, right, we go to the related action BP and create copy or leave. And over here, I'll select the job application. What happens if I have created one job application type node for my support? Workday will not allow me to create another type, another record, or another BP of the same type. If I just select over here job application, with what I'm doing, I'm just copying the existing definition that I have certain steps there in the system. For me already, I can of course edit them. I have created the BP for my organization. This is how the job application BP looks like in view mode. Let me go into the edit definition mode. As I've told you that once the candidate completes the job application and clicks on submit, he enters the job application process. And in that process also, he's by default part of the review stage. This is a mandatory stage and it is separated from the rest of the stages. I would say because you could see over here, it is the initial step and we cannot remove this. We can remove these steps, but we cannot remove. This is the mandatory and this is generally taken care by the recruiters. Or I would say the primary recruiter, to be honest, because what would be the use of creating primary recruiters if you're not adding it anywhere? Your primary recruiters is responsible. What happens for each of the stages: review, screen assessment, interview, reference, all of them. They lead to triggering of their sub-processes as well. Once the candidate clicks on submit the job application, BP will get triggered, of course, and in that it will lead to triggering of the review sub-process. Let's go into the review sub-BP. Again, I'll go to my support. I'll go to the related action. We always create BP at support level. Or if it is a default definition, then it doesn't require any support. And we consultants have the access to create the default definitions as well. But during the migration recipe itself, when the tenant is getting set up, the foundation tenant, during those recipes, migration itself, we also get the default definitions. That's why we don't look into it much. But if we want to create BP for our support, this is how we create it. If I search for job application, now I won't be able to see it. That is because I have already created one. Workday is not allowing me for another one. I have to look into the review candidate BP now. Create copy link. It is also again a simple one. Now one thing to be noted for all the sub processes of these stages, like the review, BP, full screen BP, assessment, BP, all of them should have their last step as the decision making step. Only then the candidate would be moved forward or he would be declined. If you don't have the decision, step how the candidate would be moved forward. There won't be any step related to that which will go to the security group. Security group could be recruiter, HR partner, manager, anybody. We have action steps which are already delivered and most of them are also getting visible in other sub stages processes as well. We have common steps, you could say, and three customized steps. The first one is candidate self-scheduled event. If we are using this step, it means we are asking candidate if they want to schedule any event or any meeting or anything. They're giving him this task of communicating with us if needed. Then change comment or identifier. Whatever data was put in related to government identifiers in the job application by the candidate, or if the recruiter is creating the job application on behalf of the candidate. If we want to change those government identifiers, we have the option over here. And it could go to the recruiter, HR partner, and anybody. Then comes the change of personal information. If there's some changes needed in the personal information of the candidate, either recruiter or candidate, both of them can make the changes. Then review decision, it would come as the last step. Then comes the same endorsement request. This concept is something related to reference, which will come in the later part. In reference, what we do, we, the existing employee, refer somebody who is outside the organization. And then the process will be initiated and some communication will go to that candidate. Whereas in endorsement, once the person gives in the job application details over there, he can mention that I know somebody in the company already. And then a request would go to that organization person that somebody has mentioned that they know you in the company. Would you like to endorse that person? In endorsement, the request is coming from the candidate, whereas in referral it is coming from the person in the system itself. We have a setup of 3 steps and different VPs where the endorsement could be done. That is a different topic. The next step is to update the US disability status, which the candidate must have provided. Then the US veteran status again, which would be changed as well. A review. BP itself deals with what the data the person has given until now. If any changes needed, it could be done or a decision could be made that we are with everything. It could be moved on to the next stage. Now coming to the next stage. How we would know what is the next possible stage. That would be visible over here. In the review, if the person is in review during the decision making step, the candidate could be moved into any one of these next possible steps. You could see here as well possible next steps. From review itself, the person could be moved to offer as well. He could be moved to reference check or he could also be hired as well. That is why job application process is a dynamic BP. There is no proper sequence. Whereas the review BP, which we saw, this is a static BP. It has order A, B, C, D. Now there's one question I would like to put on to you. Not right now. Let me just cover 3 stages, then I'll ask. These are the possible next stages. Let's suppose if a person selects phone screen, not the person, the security group selects the phone screen, then the phone screen BP or the screen BP would be triggered. Now let's look into the screen BP, how it looks like. I'll open the support again. I'll go to BP create copy link and screen. But they have just put in custom label with phone screen name, but actually Workday delivered is the screen stage only. Here I'm going to select screen default definition. Again, if I see automatically unpost. This step is coming now. Why it is coming? Let's suppose if you include this, it means the job break would be automatically unposted from the portals where it is currently posted right now. But it is soon. It is very soon to decide that we want to unpost. I feel that during the hire BP or during the ready for hire BP, we should include this step because only then it would make sense. And during that BP, only like the candidate would be hired. If a person is hired, only then we should unpost. It's no sense to keep it right now. In candidate itself, scheduled event. Self-scheduled event, again, it is same as the previous one that if you want any meeting or communication to be set up from candidate during the screen stage, that could be done. then all these are same. Only different is the screen candidate. This is again a decision-making step. From here, if this is triggered from screen, these are the possible next steps, and these steps will lead to triggering of those stages. Then off after screen. Let's pull. The person selects the assessment. Now let me know the person would be in the assessment stage, and I need to just click on here. I'll open this above again and select the SES candidate. When they assess candidate, what will happen? Like this stage will lead to triggering of some assessment related steps. Here the integration could also come into picture. Like often, the client includes third-party system to take the assessment step. Like they would be responsible for giving all the questions, for taking the answers and checking the scores, finalizing the scores, and giving the proper pass or fail decision. All those could be taken care of by the third party vendor. For that, we need integration. And but if I check the steps of the actions once more, we have assessed candidate, then we have make assessment decision that will come at the end, then take candidate assessment. In this case, we need to attach an assessment. But currently, like we don't have the option of creating assessment in this tenant, that particular domain is suspended. I cannot even enable it. But from here, like the person could be given the assessment. Like he could be given a questionnaire, a PDF or doc or whatever, and the person has to like a reply or whatever. Even a link could be shared with the person, and it would say that the link will expire within these 3 days with the due date we can put. And the person will give him the response, and from recruiter side he would be getting like he would be seeing the responses in a particular database for that link. That is how it could be done as well. We can add all the steps which are allowed here. We can include all the steps, or we can pick the one we want to sign in our VP. We can include as per our client's requirement. We don't have to include each and every step. And one more thing, the UMP OST job. We only have to add any stage, or it has to be after hiring. If it is available to us now, we can definitely add it. But it still doesn't make any sense that let's suppose a candidate is in screen state. Maybe he gets declined in the offer stage. What will happen? That job could still be open. It won't be filled. Again, we have to post it. It doesn't make sense. Let the candidate be still ready for hire or hire. Let the hire VP get triggered. Only then we should post it. Only then it would be sensible. Thank you. A. Take assessment, assess candidate. Let us see. I also wanted to make you see that we have integration type also available. If you're putting this, it will automatically redirect to the integration team and the third party and everything, whatever we have mentioned. But I'm removing the step and let us see. Yes, we have. We just gone through assessment. If from assessment, the next step selected is for interview, then this particular step will trigger. In the interview VP, we have these best possible steps. I would say the first one is to schedule the interview. In this case, the panel, the room, the location, everything would be selected. And here let me see possible people responsible. Let me put in recruiter as well here. Then comes the second step. It's a shared participation type step. What will happen? This will lead to triggering of two inbox items. One will go to recruiter. One will go to the candidate. What will happen? The candidate would provide in the feedback of how the interview went, and recruiter will make sure that the feedback has come in. It is given to us by the candidate and I can just submit this. It will lead to triggering of two steps. And we can include any other security group here as well. The last step is to again make the interview decision. If I select the action steps, let's see what all we have. Automatically unpaused, change your personal, make interview decision. We have included. We also have great interview. What happened? There are a lot of candidates and they will have interview. And we would like to specifically rate them that once the interview decision would be made by the manager, we will do the comparison based on those ratings and accordingly the candidate would move forward or decline. It's a good practice to include this as well. All included. And let the recruiter do it. Who is allowed? Employee. That's not the right thing. Why the employee would be reading the interview? I need to check the VP policy. Make interview decision rate, then schedule interview, then schedule interview. Team is also specifically given where the panels would be decided for sure. And rest are all same. It is going to. and go here and check the BP policy. I'll go to BP and edit. Schedule interview. These people can do make interview. This change permit ID update. Send endorsement. Who can do actions on entire security? The action is only approve or deny. These are two options in action we have right. In action, we can only approve or deny. In the action step type, you're saying we can approve, we can deny. Some of them also have send back option. Some have edit option as well. When we use to do mean we have to perform some action. To do step, it's like a notification given in the inbox but without any button like he can. The person cannot do anything in Workday, but there would be an instruction given to him. Like you have to now submit the water bottles to the new hires, or you have to submit the new hire orientation kit, something like that. Or like the recruiter now have to offline discuss with the candidate why he withdrawn. Like these kind of actions which a person cannot take in Workday, but those notifications are given as an inbox item only. But we still have to define it in a business. Yes, we have to define it, and the activity for that would take place offline. I think not inside the Workday. It could occur inside the Workday also, like to do step could be done like please change the contact information of the candidate. Such kind of task would be given. But that was the interview. VB, let me check if it is coming. Interview is also now done. And we didn't have any policy where I can edit this rate interview. We cannot edit definition for this interview BP. We can edit it, definitely. What it says that here the employee as self is not the candidate. In this case it is the interviewer, like who took the panels. I would say those are the employers here. Now I will click on this BP and simply edit definition. I was looking at the BP policy, but it didn't have any rate interview related section. I just went off, and this is where you can edit these steps as well. Now a question. Let's suppose we want the whole recruiting job application to process this particular sequence only. Like we don't want from review to reference check happen or from review to offer happen. We don't want such kind of options to be available to the recruiter or hiring manager. We want only the next possible steps to be in order, like how they are visible here. What do you think how we can do that configuration in the job application? In the job, when we define the job application, we have to assign these BP in a sequence. One after the other, then they follow the sequence. How we can define that? Like this is the BP right now. If I go on to edit, where I can define it over here. Yes, this is a possible next step here. Like what should be done? Like if I want phone screen to occur only phone screen, then you have to remove the rest. This is highly asked by the client. We want the sequence only. We don't want a lot of information options to be given. We will only include phone screen when the person is making the decision from review stage to which stage you should be moved on to. Only screening stage would be allowed. In phone screen, we will only include assessment as the possible next step. Then in assessment, we will include only the interview. That is how we can make the decision. For each of these sub-processes, we have to have at least two. One is to conduct the process like review, and then the last one should be review decision where we can move them. Now, here we have a lot of assessment. We have these. We don't need all of these. If we want a simple version, like we can only include interview. From assessment, only interview stage would be the next possible stage. Why they have mentioned all these here? Is it possible to skip the stage? Definitely. From assessment, if the decision has to be made, all these would be the next possible stages. The recruiter can quickly select offer or reference check. You can skip the interview. That would be possible. Or from reference, check if you see the next possible note. From here, currently you can be moved forward only. But if I go to interview, he could be. Here also, like they have included only the front ones. But we can include the review as well. Like from phone screening, the person can go to the back as well. Like if some additional screening or anything is required to see the review is also possible. He can be moved on to backstage as well. I need to get the security. If during, like say, if we do an interview, state we assign the other next steps, reference check, offer, employment agreement, and then we don't have to configure all these processes individually. Yes, definitely. Definitely always. Yes, we start with reference check. We don't have to go to the next offer. We still have to define those processes now. Yes, definitely. We have to, because maybe for some other candidate in future we would need offer. And offer is, very important step. How is possible? Like to skip for some stages for some candidates. Just follow the sequence for another candidate. We have one default definition that we copy the default definition, but how we can configure two different type of steps within the same job, application BP. For example, from review you want to take him to the interview, that you want to skip these stages. Recruiter will select the next possible step of interview over here. That would be the candidate would not be visible under this grid on the job requisition if you have seen. And he would now be triggering the interview with directly from interview. If he performs well, he could be moved to offer as well directly. In this case, reference check would be skipped. And if, let's suppose you want steps along with conditions, that could also happen that this will only be possible. This next step would only be possible from review if the candidate was an internal candidate. Like he was already part of organization. He was moving into some other department. Or he could be moved to offer only if like from the evergreen requisition, like the linking is going on. Still all the stages have been covered in the evergreen itself. Now we have to do the offer. That is how the condition is put. This is a custom condition, not work tuned. That is how customization is done. And for the default definition will not change in this way because this is now. We are skipping some stage. But maybe for another candidate, we want to follow the same sequence. It doesn't affect the region. In client tenant, we only have default definitions for job application. We'll only have default definition for phone screen assessment interview. There would be only one default definition generally for each of the business process type. And in those VPs, we can customize it. We can customize the steps like it will trigger for some, it will not trigger for some. And we can put a condition on it. That is how we can do the condition. Also, do you know about rule-based BP definition? No, haven't. What happens? Let's suppose we want a completely different definition to trigger. But we don't want to create a separate BP other than the default definition. What will happen? I'll go to this BP. This would also be possible for any other BP. I'll go to the related actions. I'll go to the BP and here comes the rule-based business process configuration. I'll click here. Click. Based on a rule like, let's suppose, if the management level is 6 or 7, then we don't want the default definition to trigger. We want this particular definition to trigger. That is how the rule-based BP definitions could be maintained. In that case, we have to create the workflow definition here. Currently, I don't have the access to create, but we can. And creating rule is like creating any other condition rule. That is how we do it. That is the simple one. We can define the business process step here in this one. We can in the definition. The definition would be like another BP over here. But what will happen if we search for this BP? No, like it won't be visible as a separate record. It is included in the default definition itself. Based on the rule. Based on the rule. What will happen? Let's suppose a job application BP is triggered and it has certain rule-based definitions also. If those rules are met, Workday will first see that if I have to trigger those rule-based BPs, if any one of the condition meets, that particular definition will trigger. If none of them meets, then this default definition will trigger. We went through interview because I think now let's look into reference check. It is also very simple. In reference check also, we have decision making steps. Apart from this, we have our references. Reference check is basically like the candidate would provide to whom the company can contact for his basic details, like whether he mentioned the address correctly, his previous job history correctly, or any other schooling or college or anything. As references, step could be included and it will go to candidate. Then we can have review add references. What will happen? It can go to recruiter. Recruiter can contact those references and review them, that they are genuine. Like they can look into their government identifiers or anything like how they do it. They will have the process move. That is how it could be done. Let me add two steps. One, like we should add one more. This job application can also be searched from the task. We don't have to go to the supervisory. Supervisory. I am going to that supervisor because I'm creating it. But if you are searching, then you have to search in the search bar with BP prefix and you can type in the name of the super and all the BP related to your super can come. Or you can type in the name of exact BP. It was an action step and add reference. Review add references and it should go to candidate as. They have added recruiter. Fine. Maybe the recruiter would ask the candidate to provide him the details. He will make sure that those references are added. Also, I'm not checking the BP policy right now because it's breaking time. Otherwise, candidate, it will go to candidate also. Then comes the next stage. From reference, he could be moved to offer. Now let me look at the offer BP, which is like the most important one because the other offer generation occurs. It's a very basic one. I have seen for clients putting in 16, 17 steps. All of them are like very customized based on conditions. They are not very different, but these are the basic steps. The first one is the employee compensation offer. What will happen in the job profile will have the compensation details. That job profile gets attached to job break. For that particular job break, we will see whether the right compensation details are coming from the comp package, like the comp grade and every other bonuses and everything. All those things are coming properly and it would be taken care by the recruiter manager or anybody. Who's the initiator in this case? Initiator is the person who has triggered this BP, like whosoever has moved in from reference check to offer. That would be the initiator for offer. Then comes the generate documents step. This majorly done by recruiter, and over here we'll select the documents. Step the documents. We'll see how it looks like. Then there's very good feature Workday provides where the candidate can review the document. And if he doesn't like it or if there's any negotiation needed, he will see a send back button and it will go to the recruiter back. Most of the clients ask that how, if the negotiation is done, how the process will follow, like it will start from scratch. No, it will not. It will just go back to the recruiter, just the previous step, and the recruiter will regenerate it and send it back. The candidate will review. If he finds he will submit, and then the next step will trigger. The next step is to one-time payment, then stock grant, and end of the offer decision. Again, one-time payment and stock grant. All those will trigger once the candidate accepts the offer. Majorly, like we don't trigger them with the offer letter mainly. We can do it. No issue on that. But it's a good practice to include it after the document is generated. And if I click on, I'll see the button to configure the documents. See here is to configure or generate the document. Basically, we are going to generate the template here. I have already created one that we show. Is the document I've created. I'll just open it, edit view, edit view. The task for that is simply create document. I will search in the Workday. I'll just open it and edit. I have to give the name, the category only. Once we attach the category, then that particular document is visible in the drop-down option, like the recruiter would be able to select only that. We have to select the category, of course, like how, if you remember, for the questionnaire we have seen one field, allowed business process, if you remember. If we are putting the allowed business process only, then the questionnaire would be visible in those people. Similarly, we have to select the category, that this document is not available for any other categories. Like they should not be available for agencies or assessments or certifications. They are only for offers. And here I've put in the description. There's that type I've selected. Other than template, we have two other types. One is the attachment. If you're selecting the attachment, in that case a Word doc could be attached by the recruiter and given to the candidate simply. The Word doc or the PDF or whatever it is. Maybe it could be there won't be any signing option also available. Like how we add the signature in PDF, only that possible option is available. It is very outdated. That's why we don't go with the attachment, because we don't want recruiter to go manually and then like looking to the candidate name and edit it and then send it. No, we want to work automatically to generate the standardized offer in the format and just prepare it for us. The second type is the link. In link, what will happen? A link will go to candidate. You will click on that link and then you'll see the document and you'll put a signature, any acceptance or any checkbox if it is included. And you'll close that link. That is how you'll see the offer and he'll accept it. But in the template, what we are going to do, we are going to create the text blocks. And this is the most used one. We have the text block introduction body, sign on payment conclusion. Introduction body and conclusion will be visible to each and every candidate, whether it's internal, external, and from whichever portal he has come. It doesn't matter. But this sign on payment, it would only be visible only if the candidate is applicable for the sign on bonus. Like during his recruitment process, in his job profile it was already mentioned, or in the comp package it was already mentioned, that these candidates of this job profile would be getting a sign on boards. Only those particular candidates would be able to see this particular text block. And the second tab is for the layout. This is done by the integration and reporting team. And it works on how the logo format of the offer letter everything will look like. If I open this layout, it has a report designer kind of an attachment. It is created by integration team using Board and Studio. I have the steps for it, but it is taken care by the integration team. We consultants are not. We should not care about it. But we have to talk to them and provide them with the logo and the format which the client has told us. Or we have to include in the discussion client integration and consultant all. This is the report design. And if I click on this report design and open this logo and open this word, it has a different format. For this, created by integration, we don't know how to even create it. But this is about coming back to text block. I'll just show you the text block and the new tab. If I edit it, see here it is simple to how we have created the email template or message template or even these two majorly we have created. There also, you saw the body content section. We have the static statements and we can all sorry. Let me cancel it. We have the static and the dynamic. What they will automatically fetch the candidate's compensation, current compensation from his job profile, his first name, last name. This is like the work has been done by the work get set. Then the body. What? The complete template will be already generated. We just have to attach it here, right? You don't have to create a stamp. We have to create the text blocks, of course, and then we'll simply attach this document. This particular document standard of later, and all these details in the text box would be fresh from Workday automatically. And in the offer later, which would be generated for that particular candidate, these details will be public. Well, they will do the calculation. But we are responsible for creating the text box in the document. And even the text box could also be reused. But they should have a common source, like it should be offer. Only offer related text blocks which were created previously by some other consultant. It can be used as well. And I'll just click on and done. That's it. And if I click on done also again, no. This BP prefix is not working. I'm just putting in the name of support and I'll see all the processes related to it. But now we have created this. If I go to offer now, if I would have not put in any document here, it means I have not generated anything. Workday will give me an error that you have to configure here as well when you're configuring your BP. If I click on it, I see the document attached. It is attached already and I'll just click on. And now I have to attach this document in this step, which will go to the candidate. And he will review it. I have to make sure when I'm creating the BP, these should be configured as well. This document would be effective from this particular moment. Then we have the integration type e-sign by .sim. Integration is needed. Then if I scroll down, this document is selected. I want to change it with standard one. That's it. If in the any instruction we want to give to the candidate, we could do it. That's it. And this attachment option is like, do we definitely need that? The candidate to e-sign and then attach. Generally, yes, we should always make it required. But in this system, integration is not done. That's why I think these options are grayed out. That's why candidate won't be able to e-sign. You can see the message also for steps configured with an e-signature integration type. The completed e-signed documents are the only uploaded attachment permitted on the steps. A person would only be able to attach the e-signed document type. He won't be able to attach a PDF or doc or any of the Excel file. Nothing. He would only be able to attach. That's why this is grayed out, because integration is not yet completed. Just click on. After that, we have the simple one is request one-time payment of. These would be triggered by recruiter. He would set the one-time payment of related actions. Then if there's any stock grant also given and at the end make offer decisions, the manager will decide that all the processes were done properly. The candidate accepted it and we are to go forward. Then this decision would be made. Then comes the next stage of employment agreement. Employment agreement is something which also includes a lot of documents, but we don't configure how we configured it for offer. It relates to the terms and conditions and policies of the company. Well, just click on create. And I need to type in you can see action steps like initiate the hire contract, collective agreements, probation period, employment agreement, and these two are also available here. Stock grant is also available here. There are no disputes. No dispute is taken care of by the same people, majorly. We have agreement decisions, it will be done by the H, our part. This is how employment agreement looks like. Then the last is the background check. We can also even change the sequence of these stages, like if you want background check to come before offer, we can do that as well. If you remember the Edit 10 setup chit, CM or Edit 10 setup recruitment tasks, at the bottom we were able to shift upward, downward these stages. Let me go to the last BP and create it. Here at the bottom, we'll see again the overall status and the decision. What happened? Background check is also run by the firm party majorly. They can provide us with their status as what they have given as the decision. The third party can give us the decision, what was the status of the candidate, and we can just load it in bulk. And here you can see the integration by force if we need any integration to be known. We have to integrate this. This will end with the BP configuration, but tomorrow we'll be doing the end-to-end testing, a rough end-to-end testing. I would want you to create your support to 3 job breaks and your job application and sub-processes for your support because I would like to do end-to-end testing on your configuration. I'll see what you have done and I look into the role assignments and everything. And then we'll initiate like we create a candidate and make a move across the job application processes. Any other doubt? Most of the time we get this ticket. The recruiter is not able to move them to the next stage. Sometimes they skip a task and then they cannot move the candidate from offer letter to the highest. Most of the time they get this error. If we cannot remove, you have to check the next possible steps of your job application BP. Definitely. And you have to also look into those starting BPs that the steps which you have skipped, like you have made them optional, whether they should be optional or they should not be optional. And also if those sub-stages have the end step as decision-making steps or not. We can talk to music. One more thing like the job requisition is mostly we create a position. We have to have a position to create a job. But how about for the job management staffing models for that? We have the same thing. We set up the hiring restrictions. For job management, Workday will not ask us for the positions. But yes, we can only include job management only if the hiring restrictions are set on those supports. And yes, then we can create the job posting titles and we can create the number of openings, but no need of creating positions. A job management also can use the we have to for job rec. We can be used for job management. But the positions won't be created in that. In job management, we have virtual positions, right? If you remember, Yes, only those kind of positions will be created. Like if a person is hired to job management, he will be hired at a virtual position. It won't be an actual position. I'm sorry I didn't get the concept again, the virtual position, but we have to create a position. We can create 4 or 5 positions and then we can create a job. In job management, what happens? We don't going to create job, create position tasks, and we don't create more. Automatically, what will happen? A position title would be given, like for example, if you're doing bulk hiring for campus. We just define the number of openings. In job rec, we just define for analyst position. These are the number openings. But once he comes into the system, he will definitely have a designation attached. He might not have a position, but he will have a designation. That designation is like the virtual position. It is not the actual one, but it was created to make it feel that they are hired at a particular position. Well, that title would come from the job requisition itself. We are putting, if you remember, job title in the second section, job review. That would be the title. Yes, and one more thing, like remember, I asked you if you want to add one more reason in a job rec, and we want to skip the business process. Only a couple of 2, 3 initiation, and a couple of steps we want to add. But we have a default definition which goes through all the business process trigger when we have created a job rec. But if we want to add a special reason and bypass all the steps, how can we do that? I think it is in BP job rec, not in this one. What will happen? We'll create a condition rule on our BPs. BP could be job rec or job application, and we'll put a condition that if this particular reason was selected, then it could be optional. The step could be optional. We can do that. But if this was not selected, then this step would not trigger. Like if reason was not selected as this reason, then this step would not occur. Automatically, it will not be there in the inbox. There are 2 ways of posting. There's one task post job, or the second method is to go on your job rep and post it from there. Just open the job rep, that would be fine. Thank you. No, you don't put rec like this. Just cancel it out if it is not visible and just search it from your side panel. Leftmost 4. 3 buttons are there now. Second button. Click there and show all just beside. Hiring manager. These are the ones. Any one of it. No, mine was 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. But this was happening with previous batch also. They were not able to see. You have created all these by Logan's account only, right? Can you quickly create it right now from Logan's account? I cannot see any data. Even when you're creating the job, like now, you can select Create New Position. Along with that, it could be created. I think the system got refreshed, and that's the number popping I can do more slowly. I don't see the option to create position here. You have selected position management right. When you were creating the job, which option you chose, like create new position or existing, create new position. Automatically it would be created. There would be a BP which will trigger. Here you won't see any option for position details. But we always have to have position before we create a job. Ref right. It's a best practice. Director fine. I want to choose this one. I create a company call center. Everything. Same name. At least this one happened. These are not mandatory gross share position. No, nothing is mandatory. In the job break. Now the hiring like take place at the bog only. Always acquisition. Same thing. They do acquire talent acquisition team, like they are more part of the hiring. Talent acquisition is little bit different than the recruiters. Even though they are confused, recruiters are only responsible for what we are doing right now. But talent acquisition, look into the higher BPs also onboarding all those things. We're still fine. Should I go back and fix that? No, it's only an alert. Click on Submit. Now the job break. BP has good view details and click on Details and Process. There's a process definition error. Just click on Overall Process. Once this overall process, a blue link. Click here. Process even was automatically generated. Can you show me a job break BP once? Or should I go for my organization? No, you have to type in BP colon job break. For alpha, I think first one. Oh, it has 3 errors. That is the reason we got the process error. This definition is missing for the sub-process configured in the template. Sub-steps are out of order. Order thing you'll be able to do. The first one says, in the job break BP, you might have included proposed compensation related step right. Yes, that is a sub-process. We also need to look into the sub-processes as well. And it says that we should have a step called request requisition compensation. And that's a process, like it is worked. They delivered functionality that it should be definitely included. Please clear out these error ones. The sequence here, our sequence, just super sequence. What are the sequence requirements? Click on it. Errors again. The last one should be the post job. I remember in create position, these two were the mandatory. Request requisition compensation. Just make step C as the completion step. That's it. Cross. That's all right. Just hover over the magnifying glass for the C step. Click here. BP and go to the second last option set as completion. No, just one error is there and the proposed comp BP should be created. This definitely missing action. Request requisition. Or another thing could be that you can remove the step if you don't want extra work. Cross it, scroll down. We don't have the rec, this comp we don't have, we have to add that stuff. I think we need to add it. Has it? Let me get it. The definition here. I can move this step. It's just seeing something. Oh no, no, it doesn't have an issue. Just add another action step at the bottom. Click on plus sign. Scroll right. Click on actions. Action. Go to specify and see this one. And I would suggest make it as the second last step. Beauty group is a maybe manager because we signed the manager. Automatically should go down. Click on. No, it will not automatically go. You have to change the order again. Keep it D, the first one D and the post job as E. Make it as D and the post job step as E. Click on. Now again you have to create a job. A partner. Have you assigned it to somebody? No, I think. Lincoln was looking as owner manager and hierarchy owner HR partner. I have to assign her again. Look out for HR partner also. These things for your implementation project also. Like you have to assign the role first and then create a contract. Otherwise, these steps will go on a side. Just check once your job application, like if there's anything other than the security groups. I feel they won't be, but still the search for job application VP for yours view dynamic to finish. Scroll down. Here we have recruiters only phone screen. I think they would be saying just scroll down for these higher VP. We have security groups. That is fine. One of them is there. No need to worry. Now create your job and the post job VP. The default definition would be fetched. If you want to create a job, that will also be fine. This is a embedded analytics window. For the create job, like it is done at the system level. And I think these are the, for we have this box over here, the organization and the accounts, like the number of openings for those organizations. That is how it is. If you click on any one of the number, no, click on it. Here are all the positions open. Just quickly. Great job. Target hire date. Yes, sir. One more thing. We always have to have one step, mark as completion step. Not for create job, rec task, but at the end, if you're not for learning, definitely you'll get the error. But we have certain tasks. Like for example, the job application only involved in, we cannot move on to the next step. If we have not completed the first one, we have not filled in the primary details of ourselves as a candidate work. They will not allow us to move forward. Resign. Resign. That is because you have not assigned somebody. Click on Reassign Task. And it would be very cumbersome. What is the step? What is the business process? Can you filter it out? Not from here, from here. Just type in your BP this alpha, I think. Just type in the search bar resign. A second option. Just remove and no. Second. Reassign tasks for business process type. You can mention job rep. Click on. You have to select a scroller, reassign tasks for vocal. Click on reassign unassigned tasks. Third option. Click on that checkbox radio button. Click on. Here, what is your PP? I think last one note. Reassign it to Logan. Click here and click on. Now just check in the inbox of Logan if she has caught any. Yes, she got click on approve. Then again, resign has come. Click on resign. Or just go back to the inbox of Logan again. Again, you have to go to reassign steps and now you will have compensation change process type. This happens in our projects very often. We should be aware about delegation and reassignment. And this is, as you can see, very compulsive tasks. We have to go again and do. That's why we make sure that we are assigning the people to the roles. It should be my imagination, but honestly, our pumps. Now we have to search for requisition. Can select and search for that type. Now this is the job requisition, how it looks like. We'll see how our candidate comes into this job. First, we need to complete our job application and job rep. Just resign again. Now search for. I think requisition was the business process type. Those jobs. In the job rep, we got the message that the assigned step is for requisition change. In the business process type, just type in requisition change. Typing change also. Third one. And just select third radio button. And we cannot see it for us. Open reassign again or just type in, this time the third radio button, and will filter out with your support name. Second, third option, click on. Now part of just filter out on part of column with alpha. On the business process type in alpha with the filter. Business process column. Cancel it. Go to the inbox of Logan once again. I think it's on the task. What does requisition compensation change? This is some more dated. These are not a new one. It includes list of all the current unassigned tasks. No, just type in business process here and alpha search here. Just see if requisition compensation is a sub process, maybe that has triggered and it went unassigned. What you need to do, go to your support. And just type in request compensation change here. If it is there. No, I think it was requisition compensation change. These are the options. Just select request compensation change. First one. Copy existing definition. This is a sub process, right? This is a request form. The sub process that scroll down and don't select anything. Remove all steps. Click on. Now we have to go into the inbox of Logan. And from here, just those second last, I can just be at the top second last. I can say no, just on the left. Click here, click here. Correct? You cannot cancel it. You cannot reassign. Click on reassign. It is not coming. Let me search. By date, it should come at top. A requisition, change typing that. Is anyone offered for us? Click on it. We are not able to get that option here. What do you need to do? You need to open the reassign task and search for this. Be requisition, compensation change. Now we do recent steps. What is it? From here the task. Should I type? Was it request or requisition? Compensation. That's a look. Cancel it and you can just see it. Reposition compensation change. Reposition not request. Same thing is coming. Or just don't type anything here. Just remove it. Click on. And here business process type. Now just put in your job ready. Now she'll get approved. Now you're going to post the job. Open job posting site. External. Actually, we won't be able to see the opening, but it's just post it on external, internal both. We'll be able to multi-select here. First select the category. External news and alpha external career site which you have created and go back and also post it internally. Now first one click on. This is the last step. That got completed. Then it triggered. Then we will now post your BP is getting triggered. Click on review. Up. This is the last step of post job. Now just open your job. You can go to archive and from there select them into whatever. Click on job posting, the last tab. Also overview is there. Click on that URL for external career site. Not your picking. No external posting, URL column over there. The URL has created no external. Click on it. This is the Workday issue. No worries. We'll go to the Find Job report. It's for, I think there are 1 to 53. You need to type in director or something. This one is it. Click on it, director. Click on apply. Scroll down. These are the details you are mentioning. Scroll down. I think what Workday is doing, it is just taking in all the details from the last application of the training tenant. These are all the job application details which, if you were applying on external career side now, you'll be filling. Scroll up. Scroll at the top. Company name is this, title is this. If you scroll down company, whatever was coming up. Now just put that. I forgot what was that. Let me see anything you can put. Click on submit. Now view details. Process. Now open your job requisition. I think you just need to refresh the tab, which is there. Refresh. Refresh it. We'll see. You want to go back. You've opened the job like whatever way you want. Let's go. I can do this way. Right. This is the opening. This is the opening. This is the opening on the Find Job report, but we have to open the job rec. It would be in the admin view. It would have implementers view. Now you'll be able to see one candidate and review. Click on the Candidates tab. Scroll down. This would have led to triggering of review BP. You can see that it is awaiting your action. If you'll see, no review button is coming and awaiting me. Right. Just click on review. Now click on that button review. Scroll down. This is another way of seeing the task, or you can go into the inbox item also of login. Go to Logan's inbox item. It is not coming here. Go back, go back, go back, go back. Go to candidate again. Scroll down. Click on review again. Here also you can like. She has a lot of active job applications. Just click on actions for the first job application record. Now move the candidate. Move forward. You have next possible steps over here coming up from review stage. You can move into phone screen assessment one by one, then interview, then offer, then hire. Now do this testing on your own. You would be click on phone screen once. Click on at the bottom. Now the screen BP has triggered. Click on. Now the person is also in this screen. Grid of the job requisition. You can see. Just open the screen. Click on actions again. In screen BP, we only had one step. That's the reason. Now you can have assessment. Whenever we skip any business process, then the process got stuck. We can move the candidate to the next step. If we skip any process and almost the time the recruiter complained that they are not able to move the candidate to next stages because they miss or skip any task in the process. That is because the BP is not yet completed. That is the reason. They have to check if there's any inbox item still pending. Click on. Now, this is one of the steps of the assessment, BP. Take assessment. This needed integration. That's why I think it will not trigger. Take assessment. Like, either we have to attach assessment or either it will navigate us to some other window. That is how definitely it needs integration. That's why it's got stuck. Better would be to skip the assessment step and move on to offer somewhere else. Should we cancel or I think will not work. Just click anywhere here. Great. When this create out now close. Wait. Click on take assessment. It's not allowing, it's not going anywhere. Just click on what's the error? Or click on and cancel.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.